An article for ESPN.com insider, NBA insider Chad Ford writes that some NBA scouts believe Kentucky freshman phenom Karl Anthony Towns is a better long-term prospect than Duke's Jahlil Okafor. From an analytics standpoint, Towns has caught Jahlil Okafor and even surpassed him in some systems. Towns is a little bigger than Okafor, more athletic, a better defender, and a better shot blocker. But can Towns make the case that he's the better long-term prospect? I've spoken to some general managers over the past week who are starting to think he might be. In short, with the rise of Towns and D'Angelo Russell, Okafor's grip on that #1 pick isn't nearly as tight as it was a month ago. The question, and we're talking about the future NBA draft, should Towns be the #1 pick in the draft? Skip, for you.
Yes, he should. Stephen A. Smith, you may not remember this, but 1 week ago right now we were at Duke, right, last Wednesday, and in a break Jay Billis was there to do his segment, and I told you two across the table I'm all about Karl Anthony Towns. That is to take absolutely nothing away from Jahlil Okafor, who he's going to be a very good NBA player. But we had a question in Kerry's court that day, as I recall, and I said I could see him being a star in the league, maybe not a superstar. I'm going to give Karl Anthony Towns the edge right now for every reason that Kerry just read from our Chad Ford. Chad Ford is talking to a lot of NBA scouts and GMs. This kid has a little more upside. He's got both sides going. He's got the defensive side. He is much better than Jahlil Okafor is on defense. He can block shots. He can rebound a little better. He snatched an offensive rebound late in that LSU game that was just spectacular. And offensively, he is starting to show huge potential. I don't know if you got to see the end of that LSU game. They're going up against some big young men, big tough young men down at LSU in Baton Rouge. And Karl Anthony Towns at the end of that game took the ball across the lane, one big dribble, sweeping sky hook a la Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and made the shot of the game. And I was saying, whoa, that'll work in the NBA. It works in college basketball. You don't see much of that in college basketball. What I love about this kid is Coach Calipari has been so hard on him, has shown him up again and again on national TV, and this kid just takes it and gets better and better and better. And I remind you, in practice every day, he is getting to go up against two other McDonald's All-American 7-footers. And you don't think it is making him into a man? He is coming. His upside on both ends of the floor is much better to me right now than Okafor's.
Completely disagree with you. And I like Karl Anthony Towns. I think he's incredibly athletic. I love his fervor, particularly on the defensive end of the floor. You're going to play defense playing for John Calipari. You're going to get yelled at playing for John Calipari. There's a level of intestinal fortitude and mental toughness that you simply have to play for John Calipari, and his players usually have it. I give them credit for that. But when I think about Jahlil Okafor, I think about the #1 overall pick in the draft, and I don't think twice about it. This kid is too skilled as a big man offensively for me to sit there and pass on him. The things that he has, you can't teach. The way that he has them. I'm not talking about just his footwork. I'm talking about how natural it comes to him. The fluidity in his offensive game, his repertoire. And not only that, one of the things that I look at with Karl Anthony Towns that I don't think enough people mention, you're talking about the guys he's practicing against. I'm talking about the guys he's playing with. When you've got Willie Cauley-Stein, when you've got this kid Trey Lyles, when you've got the Kari Johnson, you've got about 4 7-footers. You're a bunch of trees, okay? And I don't care how big LSU were. They weren't as big as Kentucky, okay? And this is all I'm trying to say. When you've got a bunch of horses playing with you, a lot of things are easier. Jahlil Okafor is the big man on campus at Duke. He's the dude. You might have this kid Winslow. You might have Cook. You might have Jones and all of these boys. But it starts and ends with Jahlil Okafor. You know he's the man. You know the ball is coming his way. You know you better do something to stop him. And, oh, by the way, you also know that he struggles with free throws. And he's still averaging 18 and 9 on 66% shooting. I'm rolling with the big boy Jahlil Okafor. I'm not taking anything away from Karl Anthony Towns. I'm saying he's climbing and he's gotten better. And I'm really proud of John Calipari and the development that I'm seeing in Karl Anthony Towns as this season has progressed. And I reserve the right to sit here and change my mind if the NCAA tournament comes and beyond and we see stuff. But what I've seen all year, and I've watched a lot of Kentucky games, and I've watched my share of Duke games as well, Jahlil Okafor is the real deal.
There's no doubt
as a big man. You do not teach the offensive repertoire this brother has to his game. His footwork is sensational. He's got a nice touch. He can score. And let me tell you something. He plays big. So we'll see.
Okay, here's the flip side of the point that you're making about all the Kentucky trees and talent. Okafor gets showcased every game. They are going to feed it to him. He has the most mature post game for an 18 or 19-year-old I have ever seen.
Okay.
But you realize that Towns got lost for about the first half of the year because he just couldn't get the ball, or he was in Coach Cal's doghouse. So he is starting to take over the whole team. And just another quick point.
Go ahead.
You realize over the last 6 games, this kid is making 95% of his free throws? Are you kidding me?
That's a big deal.
You know,
you got me there.
Touch?
You got me there. You got me there with the free throws. No question about it, because Jahlil Okafor really has to work on his free throw shooting. And Karl Anthony Towns, that clearly is not the case. But I will say this to you. I don't care what team Jahlil Okafor is on. He'd be doing the same thing. If John Calipari had Jahlil Okafor at Kentucky, Jahlil Okafor would be averaging 15 to 17 a night. He'd be shooting better than 50%, 60%.
What's he doing? What's he averaging now?
He's averaging 17.9 points a game.
Is he 10
and
rebounds? And
9.4 rebounds.
He wouldn't be
on 66.
He wouldn't put up those numbers quite on Kentucky. He just couldn't.
I'm telling you, he could, because when you have a dude with his offensive repertoire, any coach worth his salt is going to say, give him the damn ball. That's what they're going to do. You could get away with not doing that with Karl Anthony Towns because he needed to develop. But when you look at Jahlil Okafor, he's got the package, bro. He's got the package.
Now, you also said he's more fluid. Yet a quote from Chad Ford about Towns is, he's the more fluid player.
That's his opinion.
I think it's a scout's opinion.
I reserve the right to disagree.
Okay. So
and I disagree.
So you're going with the
I
scouts.
disagree.
Well, all I got to say is if you're picking number 1 and you are so sold on the Duke kid, I am so happy to have the 2nd pick in the draft, because long term, I will beat you with the guy that you're going to leave me. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I have a feeling this Towns Okafor conversation will
it's
be,
going to go on
for some time on First Take. It'll be a storyline. Coming up next, folks, the NFL looking at making some changes on the field and considering making defensive pass interference a 15-yard penalty. Good idea? Bad idea. The discussion next.